Hello, everybody, and welcome to my prediction of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Johnny Big Rig Hendricks. Now, before I get into my prediction, first I'd like to break down each of the fighters' abilities and what they bring to the table. So, starting with Johnny Hendricks, obviously he's a national champion wrestler, has improving Muay Thai as we saw in his past fights with Robbie Lawler, even though he lost the fight for the championship. He has very good leg kicks that he finishes his combos off, which will be a big tool he'll need to defeat Stephen Thompson, because Stephen Thompson is very front leg oriented with his front leg roundhouse kicks and his front leg side kicks. So the more Johnny Hendricks can use his leg kicks to nullify Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's attack, the better chance he'll have at the striking game if he chooses to stand with him. Now, as far as his wrestling, there's no point even talking about that. Everyone knows Johnny Hendricks wrestling is elite as they come. In my personal opinion, I think he's going to have to wrestle Stephen Thompson, because Stephen Thompson is by far one of the best strikers to ever grace the UFC. So I think he'll employ his wrestling by far. And also Johnny Hendricks grappling is very, very good. I believe he's a brown belt, but even that being said, his wrestling mixed with his jiu-jitsu, I think he'll have to utilize that big time in order to defeat Stephen Thompson. Now, as far as this fight, it's also, I think there's a lot riding on the line as far as Johnny Hendricks' career, because, I mean, his second fight with Robbie Lawler, he kind of gassed out, and Robbie Lawler was kind of teeing off him, especially the last round. He missed weight with Tyrone Wilde by a lot, which was supposed to be a highly anticipated fight. And so if he doesn't make weight for this fight, who knows what's going to happen. And also it's a huge test. I mean, Johnny Hendricks has never fought in a striker this good, and Stephen Thompson has never fought a wrestler this good. So on to Stephen Thompson. Stephen Thompson is a black belt in Kempo Karate. Has a professional kickboxing record of 57-0, which is just absolutely absurd. So the way he fights, he has a very karate point style fighting style, but obviously it's working. I mean, he's basically finishing everyone besides his loss to Matt Brown. But even in that fight, he was teeing off on Matt Brown and even had a flash knockout of Matt Brown. But basically the way he fights in both orthodox and southpaw. He usually comes out in a southpaw stance so he can employ his front leg side kicks a lot, and to keep his distance so he can follow up with a left straight. But what I think is very interesting, it's a very confusing for a lot of fighters, and this may trouble Johnny Hendricks, is, for instance, say when Stephen Thompson is in his southpaw stance and he throws off those front leg side kicks and he follows off with a left straight. When he ends with that left straight, he'll end up switching to orthodox. Basically, he does that every time he finishes a combo. If he finishes a combo in orthodox with a right high kick, when he lands that right high kick on the ground, he'll stay in the southpaw and continue switching those stances, which is extremely, extremely difficult to read. And his hands, and him being a Kempo Karate black belt, you'd think there's just kicks, but he mixes his hands and his kicks up very well. He doesn't just use his kicks to keep distance, he uses his kicks in his hands very well. And also, since his loss to Matt Brown, that was a big knack in his game, but if you don't know, obviously he's training with Chris Weidman, and, improving his grappling, and that showed big time ever since his loss to Matt Brown. He improved his grappling and his wrestling a lot, especially his takedown defense. His takedown defense is amazing. And we got to see a small part of his grappling, especially against Patrick Cote, when Patrick Cote got Stephen Thompson on the ground for a second. And if you don't know, Patrick Cote is a high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner. He really couldn't do anything against Stephen Thompson, which was pretty amazing. So Stephen Thompson's obviously been working on his grappling. And even when Jake Ellenberger dropped Stephen Thompson for that quick second, we were able to see how Stephen Thompson was able to keep his composure against a good wrestler in Jake Ellenberger. I understand that Jake Ellenberger isn't the same wrestler as Johny Hendricks, but we were still able to see Stephen Thompson's defense off his back and his guard, and he was able to get back to his feet and just absolutely destroy Jake Ellenberger. So, on to my prediction. This fight can go a lot of ways. I'm assuming Stephen Thompson is probably the underdog in this fight, but I'm going to have to go with Stephen Thompson. Given what we've seen in his past fights, his takedown defense, his anti-grappling, submission defense, his improved offensive grappling, and obviously if he keeps it standing, I have it Stephen Thompson. I don't know necessarily knockout because Johny Hendricks is hard to put away. I can maybe see a TKO, possibly in the third or fourth round to get when Johny gets tired, because Johny does get tired because in the off season he does gain quite a bit of weight and then he cuts down to 170. So he does get tired in his later rounds. So I see it Stephen Thompson TKO either the end of the third round or the beginning of the fourth round. I see Johny Hendricks getting tired and Stephen Thompson teeing off on him in the later rounds. So let me know who you think is going to win and why, and if you like this video, please click like and subscribe. Thank you.